What happens if you pour baking soda water into your lavender? It sounds like a kitchen hack gone wrong, or perhaps a secret remedy passed down through generations of gardeners. But the truth is far more nuanced than a simple yes or no. This common white powder can either be the savior that rescues your fading herbs from fungal doom and pest pressure, or it can be the silent killer that burns roots and alters soil chemistry beyond repair. You need to know exactly which side of that line you are standing on before you ever lift a watering can, because the margin for error with lavender is incredibly slim. Stay with me, because we are going to break down the science, the risks, and the precise method to use this safely. Before we dive into the chemistry and the cautionary tales, I want to invite you to join our growing community of practical gardeners. If you value honest, science-backed growing advice over clickbait myths, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video that could save your harvest. We are building a library of real-world gardening knowledge here, and having you as part of this journey makes all the difference. Let's start by understanding exactly what baking soda water actually is, because misconceptions about its composition are where most gardeners get into trouble. Baking soda is chemically known as sodium bicarbonate, with the formula NaHCO3. When you dissolve this in water, it dissociates into three primary components: sodium ions, bicarbonate ions, and, depending on the pH of your water, varying amounts of carbonate ions. The sodium component is often misunderstood. While plants do require trace amounts of sodium for certain metabolic functions, it is not considered an essential macronutrient for lavender. In fact, sodium is generally regarded as a salt stressor for most non-halophytic plants. Excess sodium competes with potassium and calcium uptake at the root level, creating a physiological drought even when soil moisture is adequate. This is the first critical chemical reality. Baking soda water introduces a salt load to your soil profile. The second component, the bicarbonate ion, is where the potential utility lies. Bicarbonate acts as a weak base and a buffering agent. When applied to plant surfaces or soil, it can temporarily raise the pH, creating an alkaline microenvironment. Chemically, this alkalinity disrupts the cell membranes and enzymatic processes of many fungi, particularly powdery mildew and botrytis, which thrive in slightly acidic to neutral conditions. The bicarbonate ion essentially creates a hostile surface chemistry that prevents fungal spores from germinating and penetrating leaf tissue. Additionally, bicarbonate can react with fatty acids on insect cuticles, causing desiccation in soft-bodied pests like aphids and spider mites. However, this same alkalizing property is a double-edged sword. Lavender prefers a neutral to slightly alkaline soil pH, typically between 6.5 and 7.5, but the localized concentrated alkalinity from baking soda can spike pH levels well beyond what the root zone can buffer, especially in container gardens or soils with low cation exchange capacity. Furthermore, baking soda water lacks any significant nutritional value. It contains 0 nitrogen, 0 phosphorus, 0 potassium, and no micronutrients like iron, magnesium, or zinc. It is purely a functional amendment, not a fertilizer. Understanding this distinction is vital. When you apply baking soda water, you are applying a chemical treatment, not a feeding. The carbon in bicarbonate is largely released as CO2 upon reaction with acids in the soil or on leaf surfaces, meaning it does not contribute to soil organic matter or long-term carbon sequestration. The residue left behind after evaporation is primarily sodium salts, which can accumulate over time. This accumulation is the hidden danger that separates a one-time rescue treatment from a chronic toxicity problem. So, when we talk about baking soda water, we are talking about a saline, alkalizing, antifungal agent with no nutritive benefit and a significant potential for salt stress. Keeping this chemical profile in mind is the foundation for understanding why it interacts with lavender the way it does. Now, let's connect this chemistry directly to what lavender actually needs to thrive, because the alignment or misalignment between the liquid's properties and the plant's biology determines success or failure. Lavender is a Mediterranean native, evolutionarily adapted to lean, well-draining, mineral-rich soils with excellent aeration. Its primary macronutrient needs are moderate nitrogen, higher phosphorus for root and flower development, and substantial potassium for drought tolerance, disease resistance, and overall cellular turgor. Calcium is also critically important for lavender. It strengthens cell walls, improves structural integrity, and helps regulate stomatal function. Magnesium is needed for chlorophyll synthesis and enzyme activation. Trace elements like iron, manganese, and boron support various metabolic pathways, though lavender is relatively efficient at extracting these from marginal soils. Here is where the connection to baking soda becomes clear and concerning. Lavender's preference for slightly alkaline soil aligns superficially with baking soda's alkalizing effect. If your soil has become too acidic due to heavy rainfall, excessive organic mulch decomposition, or acidifying fertilizers, a carefully calibrated baking soda application could theoretically help nudge pH back into the optimal range. However, lavender's sensitivity to salt stress directly conflicts with the sodium content of baking soda. Lavender is not a halophyte. It cannot exclude or compartmentalize excess sodium effectively. When sodium accumulates in the root zone, it displaces calcium and potassium from soil exchange sites, making those essential nutrients less available precisely when the plant needs them most. This creates a paradox. You might be trying to correct pH, but in doing so, you induce deficiencies in the very nutrients lavender requires for health. Additionally, lavender's need for excellent drainage and aerobic root conditions means it is particularly vulnerable to any practice that alters soil structure or microbial balance. Sodium can cause clay particles to disperse, reducing porosity and slowing drainage, the exact opposite of what lavender needs. The bicarbonate in baking soda can also temporarily suppress beneficial mycorrhizal fungi and bacteria that lavender relies on for nutrient acquisition, especially phosphorus and micronutrients. These symbiotic relationships are foundational to lavender's resilience in poor soils. Disrupting them, even temporarily, can set back growth and reduce flowering. Lavender also has a low nitrogen requirement compared to leafy vegetables or annual flowers. Excess nitrogen promotes lush, weak growth that is more susceptible to the very fungal diseases baking soda is sometimes used to treat. Since baking soda provides no nitrogen, it won't exacerbate this issue directly, but if a gardener mistakenly uses it as a general tonic alongside high nitrogen fertilizers, the combined stress of salt and excess vegetative growth can be devastating. The key takeaway is that baking soda water does not meet lavender's nutrient needs. It only intersects with its pH preference, and even then, only under specific diagnosed conditions. It is a targeted tool for specific problems, not a holistic care solution. Recognizing this distinction prevents the common mistake of treating baking soda as a benign, all-purpose lavender booster. This brings us to the crucial balance of benefits versus risks, because using baking soda water on lavender is never without consequence. The real documented benefits are narrow but valuable. As a foliar spray, a properly diluted baking soda solution can effectively suppress powdery mildew, a common affliction in humid climates or crowded plantings. It works on contact, creating an inhospitable surface for spore germination without the systemic toxicity of synthetic fungicides. For gardeners committed to organic methods, this can be a lifeline during wet summers when fungal pressure peaks. It can also deter certain soft-bodied insects when combined with a small amount of horticultural oil or soap, providing integrated pest management without harsh chemicals. In cases of confirmed soil acidification below pH 6.0, a measured soil drench can gently raise pH toward the optimal range, restoring nutrient availability that was locked out by acidity. But pivot now to the warnings, because they are severe and frequently overlooked. Used incorrectly, baking soda water can kill lavender outright. The most common error is overconcentration. Even a solution twice as strong as recommended can cause immediate leaf burn, manifesting as brown, crispy margins and necrotic spots within hours of application. Foliar burn is irreversible. Damaged tissue will not recover, and the plant must expend precious energy producing new growth instead of flowering or storing reserves. Soil applications carry even greater risk. Repeated use leads to sodium accumulation, causing progressive decline, stunted growth, yellowing lower leaves, a sign of potassium displacement, reduced flowering, and eventual root death. Container-grown lavender is especially vulnerable because salts have nowhere to leach. They concentrate with every application and every watering cycle. Timing errors compound these risks. Applying baking soda water during hot, sunny weather accelerates evaporation, concentrating salts on leaf surfaces and intensifying burn. Applying to drought-stressed plants exacerbates osmotic stress, pushing already compromised roots over the edge. Gardening is a practice of attentive care, not magic shortcuts, and your willingness to understand the why behind every action is what makes you a truly skilled grower. Baking soda water can be part of your lavender care toolkit, but only when wielded with knowledge, caution, and respect for the plant's true needs. I hope this deep dive has empowered you to make confident, informed decisions in your garden. If this video helped clarify the truth behind this popular hack, please subscribe and share it with fellow gardeners who deserve accurate information. Your support fuels more content like this, practical, honest, and rooted in real experience. Keep growing wisely, stay curious, and remember, the best gardens are built on understanding, not trends. Happy growing!